Hey guys, I'm finally doing it. I know you guys have been requesting this one. And early on this channel, not the previous channel I had, but early on this channel, I had done a video. I think it was a top 10 Bertrand Duchaufour fragrances video. And today I'm doing a deep dive. So in this video, after I did my count, listed all of the fragrances in 3 sheets, mostly all full sheets of Bertrand Duchaufour fragrances, I realized some of the fragrances I cannot find. So even though I counted around 68, I believe, I think there's going to be around 62, 60. So I've got that many fragrances here from Master Perfumer Bertrand Duchaufour. If you've been following my channel, I actually sat with him and discussed the fragrances of L'Entrepiste with him back in March. I believe the video aired in April. So you can actually go watch that video to learn a little bit about him and also these fragrances, which I don't see many people talking about. I think they're a little bit out there kind of fragrances. And if you kind of look at his style, they might be a little bit out there as well. But he's done some great work, honestly. I've got discontinued fragrances here, by the way. So this is a deep dive, meaning I'm covering everything that this perfumer has done. And let me know if you're a fan of this perfumer, Bertrand Duchaufour. If you are a fan, what are your favorite fragrances from him? And when did you first learn about his fragrances? Do you have a lot of his fragrances? What do you like about him, as I said, and all that good stuff. So we've got a wide variety of fragrances. But as I scroll through the fragrances here, lots of L'Artisan, lots. Of course, all of the L'Entrepiste are here. A lot of fragrances for Neela Vermeire Creations. Penhaligons and Step Aboard are also all different brands that I have a lot of fragrances here. I thought I originally had 4 Comme des Garçons that he's done, but it looks like I've only got 2. Some of them I think are discontinued. I think KYOTO is still selling from Comme des Garçons, but one that I really like, SEQUOIA, I don't find it anymore. If anybody knows where to find that fragrance, let me know. But I'm trying to figure out, where did I first discover Bertrand Duchaufour? It wasn't in the 90s. I think it was in the 2000s with this right here. INCENSE AVIGNON from the Series 3 fragrances by Comme des Garçons. I think that's the first time I really discovered this perfumer and the fragrances that he's created. Then I was kind of like, one thing led to another. I was like, discovering more niche. Well, actually, I discovered that around 2005, but I didn't really get into doing videos until around 2012. But I was learning about them, watching some YouTubers like in 2010, 2011. And around that time, I was learning about his fragrances. But it's interesting that I have a lot of his creations. It could have been almost 70, but there were stuff that I left off here that I thought I had, I didn't. But after I was grabbing all the fragrances and dumping them on the table here, or putting them on the table, turned out some of the fragrances are no longer around. But again, let me know what your favorite fragrances are from Bertrand Duchaufour. Let's get started with the list. This is a long form video if you haven't caught any of these deep dive videos. Also, there's a playlist of them. If you like watching long form videos, just, put on the playlist. Hours and hours and hours of fragrance talk here. You can have it in the background. You can have it while you're doing something else, or sit in front of a TV and watch it. And so you'll, like I said, hours and hours of fragrance content. So the first fragrance is from the house of ACQUA di Parma. This is CIPRESSO di Toscana with this interesting cap. I think it was like a limited edition cap or something. But I don't know what it is about this fragrance. It wasn't, I think there was something about it that bothered me. I think I wasn't really clicking with cypress as a note. Now I really enjoy it. And it wasn't smelling like, I'm a big lover of pine. In cypress, I kind of wanted it to have somewhat similar smell. I didn't. Maybe that's what was bothering me about it. But I really do enjoy this one. It's quite fresh and very much like a garden that has these beautiful grand cypress trees. It's quite aromatic, spicy, a little bit green. And also, I believe there's some citruses in here as well. It's quite fresh. And maybe a little bit like a fougere. I don't know. I'm just giving it that kind of a feel because it's quite aromatic, the cypress note. It comes off like green herbs and things like that with kind of a woody backbone. It's a super fresh fragrance. I think it definitely fits this collection. And surprising, we're starting off with a freshie. This is CIPRESSO di Toscana. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. Great fragrance from the house. Again, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I quite like it now. Let's move on to a house called AEDES de VENUSTAS. This is Café TABAC. Actually, this launched like almost a couple of years ago. And I'm surprised how good it is. It's super spicy. It's got a very holiday spice vibe. Fruity, honeyed. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I just realized something it reminded me of. It gave me a little bit of a reminder of Eau du Soleil from Naomi Goodsir. Different. But I think the fruitiness and the honey touches go towards reminding me of Eau du Soleil. But if you like a holiday vibe, if you like warm spices, tobacco, maybe some booziness, fruitiness, this stuff is super, super delicious. Super delicious. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to quickly smell Eau du Soleil. Eau du Soleil is super sweet. It's not as, the Café TABAC is not as sweet. Let's see. I think whatever fruit is in Café TABAC has been amplified a lot more in Eau du Soleil. But wow, there is a reminder between the two. But if you thought Eau du Soleil was too sweet for you, you might have a different take on Café TABAC being your favorite compared to Eau du Soleil. Like Eau du Soleil and Café TABAC, I'm finding similarities, but Café TABAC has been balanced out with like spices and kind of tobacco-ish notes, as I said. And the Eau du Soleil is going the other side. It's fruitier and more honeyed. So if you thought that the Eau du Soleil was too honeyed, too fruity, too sweet, then now you can check out Café TABAC. And this bottle is gorgeous, by the way. I love these bottles. Is it a Pierre Dinan bottle? I think it is. If you guys don't know who Pierre Dinan is, he is one of the world's most famous bottle designers. And I have a video with him on the channel. You can go catch that video. And also a video about some of his bottles that he's designed. So go search his name, Pierre Dinan, D-I-N-A-N-D. All right, next we're going to talk about Jubilation XXV. So early on in my journey, this had a lot of hype. And early on in my journey also, there was Notino here in the States, which no longer exists here, by the way. And I was like so excited by the fragrance and everybody was talking about it and I liked the sound of it. I actually ended up finding a great deal at Notino, and go figure, I ordered 2 bottles. And when I got the bottles and I was like, what the hell are these fragrances? Why are everybody so pumped and hyping this fragrance, pumped about? So I contacted Notino. I said, these don't smell like what I'm supposed to smell. They smell fake to me. And I just sent them back, got a refund, and I actually never came back to Jubilation XXV or 25. But when Neiman Marcus here started carrying Amouage, I got to sample. Actually, what I should have done is gone back and sampled it somewhere along the way, but I decided to just completely ignore it. But when Neiman Marcus put it out here, I smelled it, really, really fell in love with it. What I like about it is quite spicy. It also has a lot of patchouli in the base. It's super sexy, but I think it seems kind of watered down for some strange reason, because I used to hear that this fragrance was super potent and beast mode. But in the end, I think this kind of fragrance in a warmer environment would be perfect. To me, it wears thin, but it's got somewhat of a beefiness about it because of the earthy base, the woody base. So I think the heat would intensify it and make it last longer than normal if you're wearing it sometime in the cold or something. But I think Bertrand did a great job with this one. It's super sexy. I like that about it. And it is actually masculine leaning for sure. Sometimes I found earlier Amouage fragrances tended to be a bit gender bending, but I think that one's definitely leaning masculine. But then a few years ago, they launched Jubilation 40. Jubilation 40 is, I wouldn't say it's identical. I mean, it utilizes some of the original ingredients, but there's something eucalyptusy camphor-like thing happening with this one that takes it into a different direction, but also enjoying it quite a bit as well. But still, I think the patchouli comes through. And this is what I like about these two fragrances. The earthy patchouli kind of touches. I think actually also, now that I pulled it out, it's been a while, it has gotten beefier. It's gotten mature. Like I'm smelling a lot of the base notes a lot more now than I used to before. That's actually quite good. On me, though, I get a camphor touch from it. Almost like eucalyptus. But I like that about it. We've got some great eucalyptus trees on the coast here in California, Northern California. And one of my favorite things is to smell the trees after it's rained on. They smell great. I love the smell of eucalyptus. Let me know if you guys are fans of eucalyptus as well. But the next fragrance is... So this is a Comme des Garçons fragrance, and it was part of a collection called Green, just like this collection was Incense. And they moved, it was discontinued, the Green collection, and they brought some of them into a olfactory library, as you can see. And this is called Calamus. Boy, I did not know I really like Calamus in fragrances. And when you wear this one, there's a succulent green quality about it, almost like aloe vera, but a different smell, because aloe vera doesn't have a very distinct green smell to me. This does. It's almost like, I don't know what I envision with this one. I envision Indiana Jones. And he's walking through like not very high water, but it's like a river or a creek or something, and there's all these vegetation that he has to cut through with his, you know, what do you call it, machete. And so when he's doing that with that tall vegetation, that smell right in between the vegetation, the stems, and the stems, basically what I'm talking about. That smell is what I get with the Calamus. There's kind of a juicy factor about it, almost a little bit like aloe vera, but it's the succulent quality that I get from aloe vera, but the smell is a bit strong, much stronger, I should say. I don't know, it's a very interesting smell. I like it. It smells of vegetation. So that's called Calamus. It used to be in the series Green collection, and it's moved to a olfactory library collection. I'm not 100% sure the olfactory library is still around, but I dig this fragrance. I really love it. They have another one in the Green that was also brought back called Lily. So Green, I think, had 5 fragrances. I think all these collections had 5. They had so many different collections, but a lot of them are discontinued. But the next fragrance is, well, I don't have it. So Series 2 Red, SEQUOIA. I don't see my bottle anywhere. I believe it's been long gone, and I looked to buy another bottle, and I couldn't find it. But I enjoyed it. It was kind of a spicy, almost like carnation with woods, the SEQUOIA woods. So unfortunately, I don't have that bottle. If anybody has a bottle, if anybody has any idea of where to buy one, do let me know. Because SEQUOIA was sold at ZGO Perfumery, and I believe I asked them when I ran out of my bottle, and I think they said it was discontinued. Well, that's a sad thing. A lot of fragrances do get discontinued. If you really fall in love with something, have a backup bottle. But this is the fragrance that put Comme des Garçons on the map for me. And now I'm a fan of the brand quite a bit. This is INCENSE AVIGNON from Comme des Garçons, created by Bertrand Duchaufour. Very popular incense fragrance. In fact, I think this might be the most popular incense fragrance out there. It's also not too expensive. It's a 50 ml. Well, it used to be $95 for the longest time for a 50 ml, but the price might have gone up. This, to me, even though it's Avignon, focusing on the Catholic Church, Catholic religion. This to me smells like the Orthodox, because I grew up Christian Orthodox, and my church smelled like this, and totally of incense, frankincense, smoky, not hot and warm, but kind of a cold, because when you walk into a church, it's usually cold, not really hot, and the smell of the incense is, wafting in air. You can smell it, and you also kind of get the experience of that cold church. It's funny though, also early on with the previous channel, I actually went to Avignon, and I actually went to the church. Avignon is in the south of France. I went to the church this fragrance was this church was inspired from, and took my bottle and wore it in the church and all that good stuff. But it was great to experience the church and the inspiration and all that good stuff. But this collection also has KYOTO, which is also popular, which is sadly, I thought I had in my bottle, which I don't. There's also 3 other fragrances that are not created by Bertrand. KYOTO is created by Bertrand. There's Jaisalmer, which I really, really love. Jaisalmer is kind of an incense, but with Indian spices, kind of like warm spices that, like the spices that they use in India, which I really like. I like those kind of warm spices with like a cold incensey kind of a note. There's Zagorsk, which is the Russian Orthodox, which I thought would be kind of smelling like my church. But to me, Zagorsk smells very much like wood shavings, pencil shavings with incense. So it didn't really remind me of my church, but Avignon did. And then there's also Ourzazat, I think that's how you say it, which I have gotten my nose on once or twice somewhere along the way. I've never owned it. Let me know if you guys think Ourzazat is worth owning. But this has been a very popular collection, honestly, but I think the most popular for sure in the entire collection of Incense Series 3 fragrances is Avignon. Let me know if you think otherwise. Do add a comment below. If you've been a fan of the Incense series, why do you like them? Do you wear incense? Which of the Incense series fragrances you enjoy the most? Do let me know. Add a comment below. All right, now we're going to the house of DORSAY, Maison DORSAY or DORSAY Paris. And I'm not going to butcher this. I'm just going to go by MD. But somebody say it. So from what I remember, this was kind of a woody, spicy fragrance, but I don't remember it too well. I'm going to try and figure out a way to give you guys the idea of what this is. I'm a big fan of DORSAY's fragrances. Tonka Hysteria is my favorite. We featured it in a Scent Club kit. This, on the other hand, is more tame. It's part of their EDP collection. And it seems like a straightforward... Well, there is a little bit of a reminder of something like Santal 33, so most likely it's sandalwood. But there's a little bit of smoke in here, like incense. Of course, Bertrand does incense quite a lot. In fact, a lot of fragrances for L'Artisan would have incense or utilize incense. This to me is more like taking the sandalwood in Santal 33, adding something like Zagorsk, which is like pencil shavings from the Incense series that I mentioned earlier, and also throwing in a little smoky incense woody. So it's very woody and spicy and smoky. It's kind of, I don't know if I would say this is a bit meditative. It's not reminding me of Santal 33 too much, which is great, but still not my favorite genre, not my favorite fragrance. There's a light reminder of it. That pickle juice that people pick up with Santal 33 is not here. Just the sandalwood is here. And I think the pickle juice touch that people get is from the cypriol or papyrus that's in there. I'm not getting that here whatsoever. I do get the sandalwood though, but also spices. For sure, we've got, incensey touches and so on. So that is DORSAY's MD. Let me know if you're familiar with it. Let me know what your favorite DORSAY Paris fragrance is. I'd like to find out. I do have a full video on the channel of this with a lot of other DORSAY EDPs. If you want to go catch that video, you can search DORSAY on the channel. Now we've got a fragrance called Jardin du Poète from Eau d'Italie. Now, when I did the video with Bertrand over the fragrances of L'Entropiste, he mentioned his very first fragrance for this brand is one of his favorite creations, which sadly I haven't got my nose on yet. But this one I actually bought from ZGO Perfumery some years ago. Did I buy this one? I bought this one off of somebody else, I think. Actually, now that I think about it. Not from ZGO. I had been going back and forth there. Actually, Dahlia bought this one, and then I bought it from her. But what I like about this one, it's tomato leafy, even though it doesn't have the... I don't think it has the feature of the tomato leaf. But super green, vegetation, lightly fruity, very fresh, earthy. And it just smells like a gorgeous creation with all these green, fruity vegetation type notes mixed together wonderfully. And behind it all, there is like a tangy, juicy, kind of a grapefruity touch. It is grapefruit, but most likely it's a different citrus, but it's reminding me of grapefruit. But it fits the brand totally, Eau d'Italie, Jardin du Poète. And I think the reason Dahlia didn't like this is because she thought it was too light. It is light, and I remember it, but it's gotten a bit beefier. I think fragrances, if you keep them in cool, dark, dry place, which is always staying in the bottle here, in the box, they'll mature. This is the kind of fragrance you have to be very cautious with, because it could turn because it's fresh. It doesn't smell turned. It smells deeper and a bit more beefier, which I quite like. I like that a lot. It gives me the tomato leaves vibe, but I don't think they're using tomato leaves in that one. But it's a really great fragrance. It's a brand that I haven't really explored too much. It's from Italy. Obviously, it's called Eau d'Italie. They actually have a hotel in near Positano. I can't remember exactly where, unfortunately. Now we're moving on to a house called Frank Los Angeles. This is Frank number 1. Sadly, my bottle is like almost 10 years old. This, I believe, is a fougere style fragrance. Does this brand still sell, guys? Frank Los Angeles. It's spicy, it's fresh, it's a bit herbal, it's woody, it's aromatic. It's simplistic. There's something simple about this. Easy to wear. There is a slight smoky thing happening in there as well. Lightly smoky. I wouldn't say it's like incense from his Incense Avignon, but there's a slight smokiness there. But it's pleasant. It's not a wow. I used to like it a lot more. But that's Frank Los Angeles. Frank number 1. Let me know if you remember that. They actually had a really great warm ambery tobacco fragrance. Got discontinued and came back, and then I think it was gone. I don't know what's going on with the brand, unfortunately. Like I said, I pulled everything that I had in my collection created by Bertrand Duchaufour. So I'm going over all of them, highlighting them for you. And if something sounds great to you, you can totally seek it out. Like this fragrance. This is like a fragrance that, I'm not gonna, this is later on. I'm just gonna kind of highlight it for you. It's basically called Project Renegades. This is 3 fragrances by 3 different perfumers. This is Bertrand Duchaufour. They had Mark Buxton and Gay Zachon. And each of the bottles came with a magnet, but sadly I don't have the magnet here. We'll get to this in a little bit. So yeah, like if you can find fragrances like this, get it. I happen to have a little bit left in here, but I enjoyed this one quite a bit. And then of course this one here as well, Ostara. But we'll get to those in a bit. But this next fragrance from the house of JCB. So JCB is a winery / wine room in Yountville, California, in Napa Valley. So he's a French guy who has probably 30 wineries throughout the world, and a lot of them here in Northern California. And JCB has fragrances. In fact, I have shot a video with him and I have reviewed these fragrances. This one is Bertrand Duchaufour. He's created fragrances with Marc-Antoine Corticchiato, who does Parfum de Empire, and also Olivia Jacobetti. So all three of the fragrances, oh, I'm sorry, no. There's 2 by each of the other perfumers, 1 by this perfumer. So a total of 5. And this one, I don't remember this one being my favorite. So let's quickly smell and let you know a little bit about it. But these bottles are gorgeous, but very fragile, guys. I have to say, don't drop these because this top breaks off. I have done that. This is a very citrusy fragrance. It's giving me a citrus chypre, old school kind of citrus fragrance vibes, which is quite invigorating. I like that about it. It's called number 11, Josephine. And I believe Josephine is one of his daughters. He did 2 fragrances inspired by his daughters. He's got twin daughters. And this one actually is quite, I mean, it's very fresh, quite invigorating, and a bit old school touches. It reminds me a little bit of Rocha Moustache, not the new EDP, but the classic EDT that had come out years and decades ago. And in that ballpark, maybe a little bit of old school Eau Sauvage, maybe a little bit of YSL Pour Homme, Chanel's Pour Monsieur, in that style. So if you like these old school citrusy fragrances, definitely check this out. I love it. It's very fresh, honestly. And the green color totally fits it, because obviously those kind of fragrances have greenish touches. All right, before I move on to L'Artisan, just want to let you guys know that we have our latest Scent Club kit, guys. This one is a really, really great one. Perfect autumn fragrances. Here are the 3 fragrances. Parfum de Habit from Maître Parfumeur Gantier. We've got Chemin de Monde from Nuit Nomade, and we've got Ethereal Soul from Reinvented. And the kit comes in a really nice box. You can carry them individually or take the whole box with you. All right, let's move on to L'Artisan. So L'Artisan fragrances are, I mean, they've been around since the 70s. If you guys don't know the history of L'Artisan, L'Artisan was started by Jean-Francois Laporte, who later started Parfum, Maître Parfumeur Gantier, this brand right here. He sold L'Artisan to some corporation, I guess. He started Maître Parfumeur Gantier. So the man who started the fragrances over at L'Artisan is the guy that started the one of the fragrances in our latest kit. So I discovered the brand, I think in the 2000s. I didn't discover it. I've heard that the brand was founded in the 70s. And so Maître Parfumeur Gantier was started in the 80s. So he must have sold L'Artisan early to mid 80s to start Maître Parfumeur Gantier in the late 80s. It was started in 88. I discovered the brand in the 2000s. I believe it was at Barney's. I've been a fan of the brand quite a bit, but it is now owned by Puig. Puig. Is that how you say it? Puig? Puig. So we've got not only L'Artisan, but also Penhaligon's, which is also like co-owned by Puig. So they released the fragrances. So once they went over to this conglomerate, they've been discontinuing a lot of their fragrances. But I've got quite a bit of fragrances here from L'Artisan. So this is a long portion of fragrances from this house. One of my favorite houses, I actually did a video, a top 20 of the house way back in 2020. Top 20 in 2020. Go catch that video if you want to learn more about it. But obviously that video did not feature all of Bertrand's creations. This is a video of his creations. So the first fragrance I'm going to talk to you about, with a bad cap, unfortunately. I hate that. This little thing. Little thing is inside. Now my finger's all sticky. Anyway, it's Al Oud. Al Oud. This is an oud that I can really get behind. Super spicy, sexy, sweaty. He did such a great job on this one. It's got funk there, which I like. It's got cumin there, which I like. I wouldn't say this is a dirty oud. It's not like a fecal oud. There's just a sweaty vibe here, which has that kind of sexy appeal. I feel like There's some warm spices in there as well. Maybe there's some leathery touches. But that fragrance is a wow for me. I absolutely love it. And it doesn't have to be the realistic oud. I don't know what kind of oud he's using, but it doesn't smell like those kind of Laotian or whatever ouds that kind of go funky. This is, to me, a woody oud that has funk built around it, and my kind of fragrance. I think there's also a little bit of rose in here, but it's not making it an appearance as much. It's behind, it's hidden. All the sweat and funk from the sweaty, cuminy kind of touches is covering it up. But lovely fragrance. Really, really lovely. I don't know if this is still selling, but Al Oud, if you can get your hands on it, get it. Got a little itch in my ear. Weird. That is delicious. That is so good. If you don't like cumin, you got to stay away from this fragrance. This is not a fragrance for you. It's quite sweaty. It's got a funk. All right. So I did a video about 2 years ago with Dahlia. It was a Penhaligon's L'Artisan fragrance haul that I was able to buy from a bunch of people. And so, actually not a bunch of people. It was one woman that was getting rid of her collection. And they were all testers. Not all of them were testers. Some of them were. So a lot of these fragrances I bought for keeping and collecting because they're all discontinued fragrances. And I'm going to go over them. Some of them are here. Some of them are ones that I've spoken about on the channel. But if you want to go catch that Penhaligon's L'Artisan haul video with Dahlia, go catch that video as well. The next fragrance, though, is one that I thought I still had. I don't have. It's Zonga. Zonga I don't have, but I believe I reviewed Zonga on the channel from what I recall. It's been a while. Probably like around 2016 or something. Anyway, Zonga, I thought I had, I don't have. But the next one is one of the fragrances from that haul video, Mon Numero 10. So some of these fragrances I'm not going to be too familiar with, but it's fragrances that I have. Classic bottles. Got the name on there. The one I'm looking for, the one I'm really looking for, and my bottle is at the very bottom. It's T for Two. T for Two has been discontinued again, and I don't have a full bottle. It's not a Bertrand Duchaufour creation. It's a Olivia Jacobetti creation, but I love that fragrance. So Mon Numero 10. What is this fragrance? It's giving me honeyed vibes, but maybe some floral notes. I'm completely unfamiliar with this one, but the way I got these fragrances, I bought from somebody that was selling a lot of them, like a big lot of them, and it was one price. I couldn't take one individually, so it smells great. It smells like yellow flowers to me. Plus like warmth and spices. What do you guys think of Mon Numero 10? From what I saw online, there's like multiple variations of this, like multiple numbers. I only happen to have Mon Numero 10. But let me know your thoughts on this one. I'm sorry I can't tell you a little bit more about it, but that's all I could say. But this next fragrance is one that I believe I've reviewed. It's Noir Exquis. Another Bertrand Duchaufour popular fragrance. Again, I don't know if this one's discontinued or not. Obviously, the black bottles are after Puig took over, and they changed up their bottles, made them all uniform color. I kind of preferred the previous bottles. They're a little boring like this, but anyway, I guess that's what happens. But to me, this is it's a gourmand. It has coffee. It has maple syrupy touches, but it doesn't come off dense. It comes off a little bit like polished woods as well. Maybe there's like something like mahogany, because I always get like polished wood smell with mahogany. I think it's a great fragrance. It reminds me a little bit of By the Fireplace. There's a nuttiness here. Syrupy, maple syrupy, kind of nutty, chestnutty, holidays. But just don't remember if this is still selling. Noir Exquis. Do let me know if it is. And the next one, Nuit de Tuberose. But also, from that lot I bought, a vintage one. All right, so let me know if anybody knows Nuit de Tuberose. Nuit de Tuberose. Again, I've been mentioning in recent videos, tuberose is not a favorite note of mine. Lately, I've been actually falling out of love with this note. Not that I was like the biggest fan of it, but I appreciated it. It's just now I'm not enjoying tuberose much anymore. I don't know what happened. Has that happened to you guys? So let's smell the more vintage bottle. I believe the vintage bottle smells a bit better from what I remember. I think the Nuit de Tuberose in the vintage bottle is a bit greener, not too much, but they're pretty close. But the thing is, I kind of like this actually, now that I think about it. I think I've actually experienced a lot of vintage smelling tuberose fragrances or something like that, and it's not been wowing me or exciting me, and I'm not appreciating them as much as I wanted to. This stuff smells great actually. Wow. Now, it's not like a type of fragrance I wear over and over again. The tuberose is not a note I appreciate, but this tuberose fragrance has very modern qualities, even though I believe this is fairly old fragrance. Who knows when this was launched? Let me know. Add a comment below. And yeah. Only thing is the one in the black bottle is a bit muted. But still very similar to the original. Maybe I'm not really losing interest in tuberose. Go figure that out. I kind of like that actually. I like the greenness. I don't know, maybe that's what it is. But the next fragrance I want to let you guys know about is Patchouli Patch. Now, something I did not mention, I had written it down in my notes, but somehow I didn't print it out. I did want to say that I triple check to make sure all these fragrances are created by a perfumer that I'm talking about. I cannot 100% guarantee. So this fragrance listed Evelyne Boulanger along with Bertrand Duchaufour. So, and then I've noticed that some databases list one perfumer and another one. So I just want to highlight, if I've got another name listed here, triple check, because I can't 100% guarantee, because, you know, websites do not list perfumers' names. Most don't, some do. I mean, the brand's website. So especially like if it's discontinued, there's no real database that tells us. But according to some of the databases, they mentioned that this is Bertrand Duchaufour with Evelyne Boulanger. So it's Patchouli Patch. And that should be something I enjoy, right? Patchouli Patch. We do have a little test strip here. Actually, it's interesting. There's a fragrance I've been wearing. Let me pause and get it for you guys. That smells good. That smells really, really great. But there's a fragrance that I've been wearing lately that I discovered a couple months ago called Rock and Roll Circus by Heart and Hetty. You guys familiar with this? Kind of obsessed with the way it smells. It's going back to old school patchouli, kind of like psychedelic reminiscence patchouli, which this Patchouli Patch is also. Wait, that's the Patchouli Patch. So it's kind of like that, but with the Rock and Roll Circus, I'm getting a little light greenness, lots of booziness. It's quite boozy, which this is as well, this Patchouli Patch. But today I was walking to the studio and I noticed that it got a little funky. It got a little animalic, which is like, whoa, I hadn't seen that before. it was quite sexy. I liked it a lot. So, but this patchouli patch from L'Artisan is reminding me a little bit of Rock and Roll Circus. Let me know if you guys are familiar with that. Such a great scent though. But going back to the patchouli patch, yeah, it's a woody, spicy, patchouli, earthy patchouli fragrance that has, you know, kind of light chocolatey touches, light boozy, lots of boozy touches, and of course spices, and maybe a little bit of ambers and woods under there as well, but paying tribute to the patchouli, which is such an awesome note. Don't be afraid of patchouli, guys. It's one of the best notes ever. It's my #1 favorite note. You guys know that, right? I love patchouli. Patchouli is my friend. Big fan of patchouli. And I mean, I wouldn't have done this fragrance if I didn't love patchouli. Juice Box is 54. Creamy patchouli with vanilla. Anyway, patchouli patch is good. Although, like I said, these fragrances are all discontinued, sadly. Not all. Some of these fragrances from L'Artisan are. But I never wore this, but I really like it. And it totally reminds me of this Rock and Roll Circus by Hart and Hetty. Anyway, let's move on to Piment Brûlant. Oh, I love this, guys. I did not know this was so good. This was not, I don't think this one was, yeah, this one was not in that haul. I bought this another time from somebody else. It's a peppery and chocolatey from what I remember. I've put these fragrances away because I'm a collector. I pull them out when I need to. This is peppers. Hot, spicy peppers. Chili peppers. That's good. I was mentioning in a video recently, I don't really care for these kind of notes, but in here, since it's paying tribute to the chili, it's actually quite good. But I think this is a very polarized, this could be a very polarizing fragrance in an acquired taste. But if you like hot, spicy things, I think this is definitely one for you to try. I'm not sure if you will enjoy it if you like eating hot, spicy things, but I remember my grandmother, my mom's mom, used to make hot sauce. The process from beginning to end. And during the process of her, you know, drying out the big red chilies, the smell is right here. I mean, it's just right here. Like I could smell, totally takes me back to when my grandmother was making hot sauce. Wow. Anyway, that is Piment Brûlant. Who's a fan of that one? Honestly, if L'Artisan stayed the way they started, they would have been... I mean, some of the fragrances they're launching now are not so niche. They're very mass appealing, luxury, I guess, niche. That the right word? I think the fragrances that L'Artisan is launching now seem like a lot of other brands releasing. But at one time, like, I mean, I don't even know if they could launch a fragrance like Piment Brûlant now. I don't know how it would do. It's a bit too niche, I think. But they did some awesome scents. Now we've got Poivre Piquant. So we have two peppery. The first one was chili peppers. This is black pepper, I believe. So there was a time I was not a fan of black pepper. I kind of got bored of it. Black pepper and also pink pepper, they kind of remind me a little bit of incense and vice versa. This is reminding me a little bit of incense, but it's the peppery black pepper variety. This one's not as exciting as Piment Brûlant. But if you like a black peppery kind of scent, this is one for you to try. Although probably going to be very difficult to get. Poivre Piquant. I like the name. It's a bit boring, actually. It's also not as like potent. Seems a bit subdued. The next fragrance is Seville à l'Aube. Is this an orange blossom scent? Ooh, look at the color of this juice. Wow. That is a beautiful color. Why is it not focusing? Come on now. That color, man, that is just gorgeous. Yeah, some of these fragrances, as I said, I got in the haul. If you haven't caught that video, please go catch it. I bought them, spoke about them on camera, and put them away in the box because, you know, I'm collecting these. But I also don't want to use up too much of them. But smelling this now, it is kind of orange blossomy for sure. Seville is a city in Spain that's known for oranges, I believe, right? Is that true? And that's what I get with this one. But it's not your traditional, like, straightforward orange blossom thing. There's a unique smell about this one. It's a bit dusty, not so necessarily juicy. Also creamy. Like, it's got this underlying creaminess, but up top it's like sprinkled with dust. You know how a tree gets all dusty? And you're walking by, you see the gorgeous citrus flowers or orange blossoms, you smell it, and some dust gets in your nose because you took a whiff. It's kind of giving me that kind of a vibe. But that's good, man. That is so, so good. Wow. Delicious. I could eat that up. And the color is so good. Usually happens with orange blossomy, you know, perfumes. The oil just gets darker and deeper. But man, that smell is just delicious. Wow. This does say edition limitée. I don't know why. Do not use near fire. Yeah, I got all those little things on the back. That stuff is amazing, guys. That I will cherish. I grew up with orange blossom. Really love that stuff. All right, so next we've got Timbuktu. What an awesome scent it is. I hope they never discontinue Timbuktu, but also my bottle is a bit weird. But Timbuktu, so good. What I like about Timbuktu, it's a great combo of patchouli and vetiver, so 2 earthy notes. But it's also dry and dusty once again. I think there's a little bit of mango in there for some contrast to give you a slight fruitiness. But one year I went to the movies with a friend and I had a couple of 10 mLs of this fragrance that I had gotten free for buying a Timbuktu in Paris. And movies we went to here, and she dropped her 10 ml in the theater and it shattered, and we were smelling Timbuktu while we were watching God knows what. This is good. One of the best I think that he's created. The combination of those 2 earthy woody notes is a match made in heaven. This also gives me a little bit of the vibe of Incident Diplomatique, kind of a similar idea from Javoy. So it's earthy vetiver, earthy patchouli together. Match made in heaven, I think. So good. Let me know if you're a fan of Timbuktu. I need to buy another bottle. I hope it's still in production. Probably one of the best that he's created, but Seville Lobe is so good. Seville Lobe. Oh my God, that is so delicious. All right, and then I think the last fragrance from L'Artisan would be another favorite of mine, Traversée du Bosphore. You guys know this one? No cap. I do have a cap, though. So this is a fragrance inspired by the Turkish Delight, if you guys didn't know that. So good. I can't remember what the notes were. This was probably in 2012 or 2013, one of the first L'Artisan fragrances I bought. And I had bought a 50 ml at the time, not 100. I remember. But it's a bit rosy. It's a bit fruity. If you've ever had Turkish Delight, you kind of get an idea. It's kind of gelatinous and it's covered with like powdered sugar. So I think the inspiration is perfect. Really, really perfect. This is the, I mean, it's L'Artisan. They knew how to do niche before niche became a word. and they did some awesome scents. And Bertrand did really, really great fragrances for the brand. And this is definitely one of the best. I think in this collection, Al Oud for sure. For sure, Al Oud. For sure, Sevilla Lobe. What else? Traversée du Bosphore, Timbuktu. Those are all really, really awesome fragrances that Bertrand did. Some of the best he's ever done. Too awesome. And I have to be honest, I'm surprised I really like the Nuit de Tuberose as well. That stuff is awesome. So, so good. And I can't forget the patchouli patch. So, L'Artisan in their heyday, I guess, the best. Some of the best. Just like Serge Lutens, who have, I believe, not been sold to a big conglomerate. They've kept their fragrances. And honestly, though, they move them around quite a bit from collection to collection. Hence the video I just did on Fumerie Turk, which hopefully you guys took advantage of, because Fumerie Turk and all of those tall, thin black bottles have been now moved back into their bell jars. So there were a few Fumerie Turks out there selling for a really great price, under $200 for the 100 ml. Spray bottle in the thin black bottle, but they have now moved into a 75 ml bell jar without a spray for $330. And those never have gone on discounters. So I hope you guys took advantage. But as I'm trying to say is, if Serge Lutens had also been acquired, let's say Puig acquired them, I'm sure they would have discontinued a ton of their fragrances. And L'Artisan has discontinued a lot of fragrances, but some of their old stuff, masterpieces, I think, totally. Okay, we are going to L'Entropiste next. The fragrances that are created for, well, if you didn't catch my video with Bertrand, it's a brand that is created for or with Bertrand, and it's his vision. He gets to create what he decides, and all of the fragrances obviously are by him. And there's some unique fragrances here, like this one. Let's see. I think the first one we're going to talk about is called Altamura. Yes, Altamura. So Altamura is a orange/incense fragrance. Great idea, right? And it really does work. If you like the idea of incense, it's actually, and also that sweet orange, sweet, juicy, citrusy orange, not tart whatsoever. This is super sweet. And it's a nice contrast with that church incense, the smokiness. See, as I was mentioning earlier, he's done a lot of incense. In fact, there's 2 incense fragrances here in the L'Entropiste. And when we shot that video, he also mentioned he's doing another 1 or 2 incense fragrances. So incense is great, but I've never seen incense with orange. It's a really unique combo. Really, really great, unique combo. And it works, actually. It's, the orange is sweet and spicy, and it contrasted nicely with the smoky, resinous touches of the incense. And none of it is competing with one another. It's a nice balance. Like sometimes when fragrances are made, sometimes one note clashes or takes over. Here, the perfect balance together. Really great. That's definitely one of my favorites from the house. This is Altamura from L'Entropiste. Next, we've got, I'll tell you my favorites from this house. And let me know if you want to see a full video of this house. Where is it? Where is it? Where is the one I really liked? Okay. All right, the next one is called Blanc Sada. This was the inspiration was the Japanese geisha who, what word am I looking for? Castrated her lover. Yeah, go catch the video. He explains it better than me. So it's kind of metallic, but it's very powdery because obviously the geisha wears powdery makeup. There's a metallic bloody effect happening here. And I believe fruity as well. This is not my favorite. But, I mean, when you smell this, you see his signature touch. The whole entire collection is him. He's creating all of the fragrances, and he's doing it the way he wants. Maybe he wants to make it a bit more artistic than mass market, because I'm assuming when a brand comes to him and they want him to make a fragrance, most of the time they're going to want something that's going to sell a lot of fragrances. I don't think these fragrances are mass market, so they're not going to be selling a lot of bottles, obviously. But the stories are so good. He explains the stories really, really well. So I highly recommend you guys go catch that video. So the next one is Dawn Whispers. By the way, guys, I'm not going to do a ranking of this in this video of my favorite fragrances, because a lot of these fragrances are discontinued. But throughout the way, I'll let you know which ones are my favorites. Dawn Whispers is definitely one of my favorites. I love it. It's smoky. It's powdery. It's so good. It's almost like it's got incense, but the powder is covering it up. But the powder didn't do a good job to cover it all the way up. So some incensey smokiness is creeping in through that kind of musky, powdery, almost makeup-like smell in there. Oh, this is so good. So, so good. This is, I believe this one is the one that's 100% synthetic. Was it this one or Semence Douce? I love the way that smells. I'm gonna put some on. Now that I put some on, also, the powderiness has a creaminess. Like, almost like creamy orris buttery kind of powder. That's good. So that is Dawn Whispers. Now, this next one, where is it? Jodhpur 6 a.m. His story about arriving in Jodhpur early in the morning after a long bus ride, bus or train, I can't remember. And the idea of getting chai tea. Wow, I'm smelling this after a long time. I don't remember it being so fruity. It's almost like it's got osmanthus apricot-y fruitiness. It's spicy, but this one's definitely not my favorite from the line. I don't know. It's osmanthus, and you guys know I'm not the biggest fan of osmanthus. I like it sometimes. I hate it other times. But this one's just not working for me. This one's awesome. Semence Douce. I'm not going to explain the story. Go catch the video. He'll tell you. So it's powdery and green, the idea of tulip flowers, and walking into a florist and the smell of the stems of the plants and flowers and the greenness, and also this kind of a powdery thing happening. Yeah, go catch that video, because this one's also a bit leathery. So my favorites from this collection, Dawn Whispers. I think I missed one. I did miss one, guys. Sorry, I'm going to get to it in a minute. Dawn Whispers and Semence Douce. Those are my two favorites from L'Entrepiste. But I missed Dorian's Spleen. And Dorian's Spleen was, a sample of it was featured in one of our mystery boxes earlier this year. And I would say the Dorian Spleen is probably the most gourmand in the collection. It's boozy, it's coffee. You can smell the coffee quite a bit. This totally smells like something that Bertrand has done for L'Artisan. Almost reminds me a little bit of Noir Exquis that I mentioned earlier, but in a different direction. The black coffee is super prominent. It stands out. But not my all-time favorite. My favorites, as I said, Semence Douce and Dawn Whispers. I love those two. Really, really love those two. But let me know if you've discovered the fragrances of L'Entrepiste. Add a comment below. Whoa. The tulip one, Semence Douce, is just a unique smell. Really, really unique. Okay, we're moving on to Maison Crivelli. And first of which is Citrus Batikanga. Unfortunately, the two fragrances that Bertrand has done for Maison Crivelli are not my all-time favorites from the line. The citrus is fine. It's a citrus. It's totally wearable, easy to wear, juicy, citrusy, aromatic touches. Some herbal touches, like maybe some light muskiness under there. But it's a citrus, you know? Not super exciting. For me, I wouldn't say this is a super citrus right here, Jardin du Poète. I kind of prefer that more. And also this one right here, the Josephine, the number 11 from JCB. Much better citrus for me. This is, I mean, it's not a bad fragrance. It's not so exciting for me. And then we've got Fleur Diamantine. I don't know, maybe the brand, I think these launched at the start of the brand. I think the brand maybe didn't really, was trying to get their footing on the ground, so they didn't know what to do or how to do. And both of them are fine, but to me, they're not the most exciting fragrances from the line, if that makes sense. I'm sure somebody likes these in order for them to be kept in the collection. But this Fleur Diamantine also is reminding me a little bit of Nuit de Tuberose from L'Artisan. But I think this has more things besides the tuberose in here. But it's very tuberose forward. Anyway, those are the two from Maison Crivelli, but this next one is a masterpiece, I think. This is from the house of MDCI, Chypre-Palatin. Only one I have of his. I think he's done a few for the house. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. But a chypre that acts like an amber. Go figure. But super gorgeous. Fuzzy, musky. Light animalic hints. This is really, really superb. I believe it's balsamic. I believe there's like Peru or Tolu here. But it acts very ambery. But when you're smelling it, you pick up the animalic musk. Like there's a muskiness, a fuzziness. It purrs a little bit. That stuff is one of the best fragrances I put my nose on. Hands down. Chypre-Palatin. If you love my taste, you got to get your nose on this one. And then Eau du Soleil is also by Naomi Goodsir. Oh my God, it's good. But as I was saying earlier, where's that fragrance? I hadn't noticed that similarity between Café Tabac and Eau du Soleil before. Not at all. So Eau du Soleil is very honeyed, super sweet, and also very fruity. But it's good. It's good. So I think they've stripped away some of the honey from Café Tabac. They've stripped away some of the fruitiness from the Café Tabac. And, you know, obviously added tobacco and other spices in there. But I love both. Actually, you can layer both if you want Café Tabac to be a bit sweeter. For this one also, there's a slight fruit jam effect, almost like apricot jam effect happening. Because it's a really heavy concentration of mature fruit. But behind all of that mature fruit, there's almost like a coating of chocolate, a smearing of chocolate. Oh man, it's good. I just want to smell it. Stay here on camera and just smell it for you guys. That is good. Really, really good. Unlike the next one, Corpus Equus. And I'm doing these out of order, unfortunately. This one's challenging. It's quite animalic. Leather. Lots of leather. And it's also very horsey. Horse to the max. I wouldn't say it's... No, I take it back. I mean, it's not challenging to wear, but it's not the kind of fragrances I like to wear, if that makes sense, you know? It's animalic, but I'm not like hating it. But it's not something I'm craving to wear. So that is Corpus Equus. I'm sorry I did these not in alphabetical order for Naomi Goodsir. All right, so now that we've done Naomi Goodsir, we have reached Neela Vermeire Creations. And Neela Vermeire Creations, I think they started around 2013. I could be wrong, though, 2014, somewhere around there. I discovered it for the first time at Javoy, Paris. And I instantly fell in love with Bombay Bling. In fact, if you've been following me for the last several years, we featured Bombay Bling in a Scent Club kit. So I'm going to talk about most of the Neela Vermeire Creations created by Bertrand Duchaufour. So first we're going to talk about Ashoka. So these are the bottles for Neela Vermeire Creations. I know for a fact that these bottles have been created by the, not perfumer, but the bottle designer Pierre Dinand. And so when I see that and I see this, it's got some similarities, right? So I most likely think this is created by Pierre Dinand. Anyway, if you are interested in watching those videos about Pierre Dinand, search the channel. But we've got Ashoka first. Okay, Ashoka is a fragrance focused on figs. So it's kind of floral, it's spicy, it's green, and aromatic. You can totally understand how that fig has that kind of bitterness, but it also has a little bit of the greenness, of course, and slight bit milkiness too. Now, when I smell this fragrance, it totally reminds me of the creations of Bertrand Duchaufour. This also kind of has that powderiness. It's almost like if you've ever hung around fig trees at all, they attract dust a lot, and the leaves get covered up with dust. So there's quite a powdery experience here, in addition to the fact that it's got that bitter greenness from the leaves. This is not fruity whatsoever, by the way. It's mostly focusing on the tree and the leaves of the fig tree. So that is Ashoka. All of the bottles look similar, by the way. Well, there's a few that are different, and I'll show you those bottles. But the next fragrance I'm talking about is Bombay Bling, which is my favorite, and this is the one that we featured in our Scent Club kit 2.5 years ago almost. Not only does it have a great name, it's also a great fragrance. It's beautifully grand. It's a big bouquet of flowers and fruits together, like a tropical cocktail come alive in perfume form. It's exciting. It's just beautiful and warm. It's humid, so it's got that kind of humidity because these flowers bloom in the humid heat, and so they come alive, and they're just like, they're luscious. And of course, there's some light fruits there. Just a really big, beautiful bouquet of flowers, totally alive, mature. Sometimes, when flowers are totally bloomed, they're almost to the point that they're going to fall off, right? Just before that, they have the smell, their gorgeous smell, but it's almost to the point of kind of not being there anymore. I feel like at that time, they just get really, really super concentrated. And so I feel like this fragrance also has that. Because when I wear it and I smell it, there's a behind it all, there is a humidity, a warmth about it, even though for me, floral notes and fruits are very fresh. So that's Bombay Bling, super awesome scent. Next, we've got Mohour extract. Mohour. This is the one that has a different bottle. I guess every other bottle is similar, but this one is a different color obviously. And this one's a different bottle. This is an extract as well. Mohour extrait. Beautiful bottle. Once again, designed by Pierre Dinand. I know I'll be corrected. This is a rose perfume for me. It's also very, very powdery. I think the line kind of does lean feminine, but the fragrances are not all feminine. Like the first one was a fig fragrance. Bombay Bling, I guess it's unisex. This to me does come off a bit feminine, powdery, kind of rosy, elegant. But it's not a jammy rose. It's more of a powdery, dry rose to me. Although I should take that back, there is an underlying jamminess behind it, but I feel like I'm getting that jamminess from something else, not the rose. So that is Mohour Extrait. Whoa. Next we have a fragrance called Niral. Niral, I believe, is an iris-focused fragrance. And let me know if you're a fan of Neela Vermeire Creations. Add a comment below. Yep, totally iris. Powdery, dry, not super sweet. Maybe slight bit incensey, but not a lot. Maybe sandalwoody, dryness there as well. Maybe there's a little rose in here too. A little bit. So this one comes off very makeup-y. It has a makeup effect. But more about the iris rather than the previous one was more rose makeup. Maybe a little bit violet in here as well. I'm getting some violet vibes. So that is Niral. And then we've got Pishola, which to me is white flowers, but more citrus floral notes. Yes, beautiful. This one's beautiful. Any fan of white flowers? Wow. So, reminds me of this. Sevilla Lobe from L'Artisan. Wow. Not identical. Wow. That is so similar. Anyway, if you're a fan of Sevilla Lobe, oh my God, this is so close. I kind of like the Sevilla Lobe a little more, but this is so close to Pishola. These two, my table is a bit full, so a lot of things are falling off, but I've had to pause the video quite a bit. But this is Sevilla Lobe from L'Artisan Parfumeur. This is Pishola from Neela Vermeire Creations, giving me similar vibes, totally. Like if you've been missing Sevilla Lobe, now you can get it from the Neela Vermeire Pishola. Noses pick up different things. I'm getting similarities, not 100% identical, by the way. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk about is Treillis. This, I believe, is kind of gingery, maybe cardamom-y, woody, spicy, warm, spicy. Very much cardamom-y. This is also very Bertrand. It reminds me a little bit of the Jodhpur. Where is that? Not identical, though. Wow, having a hard time finding the Jodhpur 6 a.m. Here it is. But I don't remember getting... I don't think they're identical because the Jodhpur 6 a.m. was more fruity, and I don't get that here. But this Treillis is giving me a chai vibe, but more amped up with the cardamom, whereas the Jodhpur was spicy, but more amped up with like an apricot-y fruitiness. Very interesting. So my favorites from this house happen to be Bombay Bling and Pishola. Awesome scents. Great creations by Bertrand Duchaufour. Okay, so the next three fragrances are from a brand called Neydo, N-E-Y-D-O. Multiple perfumers were listed on it. Also, some of the perfumes did not list Bertrand and listed the same perfumers that were also listed with these. So I've only selected 3 of them. I'm hoping these are 100% created. Well, at least it involves Bertrand Duchaufour is what I'm trying to say. But I'm not 100% sure who did what. So I've only taken the 3 that I had and also had Bertrand listed as a perfumer. So the first one is... This is crazy. I don't have the names on these fragrances. which is weird. Now I have to pause the video again, guys. Okay, so the NATO fragrances, these are them. I think, so I believe this is Mossland. This might be Wood Haze, and this is probably Blonde Redhead. Let me pause and come back. So I was right. So the fragrances have a number on them, as you can see right there. As you can see right there. And as you can see right there. So I didn't write down the numbers on my list of fragrances. And unfortunately, they do not list the names that I had on the box. So the pink one is Blonde Redhead. The green one is Mossland, which was obvious because it's green. And then Wood Haze is this kind of creamy tan colored one. So let's talk about Blonde Redhead first. So it's 1611 is what it is. This is super spicy and juicy. And maybe something sticky also. There's something very sticky. I think this collection is quite young. There's definitely something fruity, sticky in the background and some light fruits, but it acts quite thick and dense. Very interesting. Not my cup of tea. All right, so let's try Mossland next. So I don't know what kind of moss they're using. Definitely not oak moss. I like this one. It's woody, spicy, a bit green and aromatic. Somewhat bitter also. Once again, kind of sticky. And a little bit of pencil shavings. That's the icing on the cake. Haha. Yeah, I like that one. I like mossy fragrances. This probably most likely we're using some synthetic mossy notes. Last but not least, we've got Wood Haze. This is quite interesting. It's very woody, but also creamy. But also giving me like a chai tea, chai latte experience. Which we know that Bertrand can do. I originally thought that Jai Salmar was created by him as well from this INCENSE series. By Comme des Garçons, but no, it wasn't him that created it. At least that's not what I found. But this Wood Haze gives me a bit of chai effect. Kind of a boring fragrance, actually. Not very exciting. Very modern. Okay. So next we've got a fragrance called CIPRESSO from Olfactive Studio. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. So this collection, this house did, I don't know how many they did. They did a trio of fragrances by Bertrand Duchaufour. They also did a trio of fragrances by Dominique Ropion. And they've done, I think, just one by Marc-Antoine Corticchiato. This CIPRESSO, so CIPRESSO, this is MDCI's Chypre Palatin. This is Olfactive Studios CIPRESSO. So, I just dropped my strip, damn it. I think my table is a bit unorganized. That's why I'm having a bit of challenge today shooting this for you guys. So for me, Chypre Shot gives me the idea of Chypre Palatine and also a little bit of the spicy tea-like fragrances that he's done for other houses. So it's almost like two fragrances combined, if that makes sense. Chypre Shot, I love Chypre fragrances. Chypre Shot is not one of my favorites, unfortunately. I like it, I don't love it. And also because it seems like two fragrances in one, and I kind of get lost in the middle, I think. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not. Because I'm familiar with the fragrances that he's done, and I'm smelling some of the DNA of other, well, I'm definitely picking up his own fragrance DNA, but I'm smelling a couple of other fragrances that he's done joined together. It just feels like there's confusion, or I'm just in the middle and it can't come together perfectly. Does that make sense? Anyway, so that's Chypre Shot. For me, my favorite in the Shot series from Olfactive Studio is Violet Shot by Dominique Ropion. Violet Shot reminds me a little bit of Fahrenheit Le Parfum from Dior. Okay, we've got two fragrances from Organ Tail. First of which is Devenir. I hear this brand is coming to ZGO Perfumery, guys. So soon you'll be able to go there and smell them. This is more like an eau de cologne or cologne style fragrance. It's juicy, zesty, green, aromatic, herbal, spicy, fresh. It's also an extrait de parfum. Or wait, actually, they're calling this a cologne absolu. Whereas the other fragrance, which we featured in our scent mystery box, is an extrait de parfum. Yeah, I think Bertrand knows how to do cologne style fragrances, especially this one. This Josephine, number 11 Josephine by JCB, is a bit more classic vintage smelling in comparison to Cologne Absolu. It seems thick also. And then, of course, Fleur de Bonbon from the same house, Organ Tail. When I posted about this house on Instagram, somebody said, organ, what are they referring to? I believe they're referring to the perfume organ. Fleur de Bonbon is a very unique, out there kind of a fruity candy fragrance. To me, it smells like the texture of lychee fruit, sprinkled with red fruits on top. It's juicy and it's a bit pulpy, but quite red. Because I feel like there's berries that are topped on top of the lychee fruit, which is kind of a whitish, reddish kind of a fruit. And it's called Fleur de Bonbon. So most likely there's flowers here, but bonbon refers to candy because it's got a candied effect happening. Very unique, like an out there kind of a candy, fruity, kind of a vibe. Those of you that got the mystery box and you got to sample Organ Tail's Fleur de Bonbon, let me know what your thoughts are. Until I pause the video and remove all these fragrances and bring the rest to have a whole page to do still. The last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about now, until I pause the video, is a fragrance by the house called Parfum de Folleville Jour de Glory. Very Art Deco bottle. What you think? It does say Jean de Folleville. Right here it says Jean de Folleville, but the brand is called Parfums de Folleville. Folleville. So I recall this one being a very aromatic, spicy fragrance on the green side. I first discovered this brand at Javoy. Wow, this is green, but also vegetal, like lots of green stems. Also minty kind of aromatic. maybe a bit camphor, eucalyptus, but super fresh. Yeah, I first discovered this brand at Javoy many years ago. I don't think they're there, and I don't know what's going on with the brand. Anybody have any info? There's some light pepperiness in here as well. There's a peppery effect happening. Who knew that Bertrand Duchaufour has done so many fragrances? So we have almost a full page to go through. I'll be right back. All right, guys. Had to remove everything off the table and bring new stuff here. So, and also going through this stuff, I noticed that some of the fragrances I do not have. So I don't know what I was thinking, but we're going to get started again. We are at the house of Penhaligons. So there's a couple of classics here that actually were my very first Penhaligons fragrances in the 90s. I wasn't aware that he did these, but also there's confusion with who did them 100%. So for the first one, Au Sans Pareil, I think that's how you say it. Why am I not focusing all of a sudden? Anyway, this one, it does say, some databases say Beverly Bain. I'm not 100% sure who that is, but also some say Bertrand Duchaufour. So I'm going to go with it right now. But let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if you're familiar with this fragrance. I wore this. It was the very first Penhaligons I had ever owned. And actually, a guy I knew I worked with while I was going to art school told me about Penhaligons, and I went to Saks Fifth Avenue. At the time, Saks Fifth Avenue had two stores, a men's store and a women's store. And I bought a bottle of it, but it was not a spray bottle. It was actually it had like a stopper on top. So this is part of my haul that I had done of Penhaligons and L'Artisan. So if you haven't watched that video, please go catch it. I can't remember exactly what this is all about. It's also very, very classic to me. Since I bought it in the late 90s, it's been around for a long time, I think. And I think that's around the time that Bertrand Duchaufour started his career in perfume making, actually earlier in the 90s. So catch that video as well with Bertrand talking about L'Entropiste. But I don't know if my bottle has gone bad. I'm not, it smells kind of muted. This one might require putting it on skin, but for some reason my bottle is not focusing this time around. But let me know if you guys are familiar with this fragrance. Add a comment below. And then this also was a fragrance that I had bought same time I bought the other one. This is Esprit de Roi or Roi. This is also some discrepancy with who the perfumer is. It says Michael Pictal, but I apologize if it's not Mr. Bertrand Duchaufour. This is to me like a freshie, a very aromatic, spicy freshie. And again, I've had this and the previous one, which I've forgotten about the previous one. This one to me does still smell a bit substantial, but it reminds me of like a classic style men's cologne. Although this might have been a unisex targeted one. That is Esprit de Roi. I like that one quite a bit. I remember it. In fact, I might still have some bottles, some of my old bottles from the late 90s. That was my very first time I discovered Penhaligons. And up to that time, Penhaligons was not a brand I was very familiar with. And I was mostly into the designer world of fragrances. And I think when I discovered that, I was starting to just start wearing Mugler's Angel Men or Amen. So a totally niche brand that I was not familiar with was kind of a breath of fresh air when I was very familiar with like La Mail and Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme and, you know, things like that. So the next fragrance, which I have spoken quite a bit about, is Orange Blossom by Penhaligons. Beautiful. I think this one's a beautiful bottle. It's also a great scent, by the way. Orange Blossom is Orange Blossom, basically. This Orange Blossom is also kind of powdery and dusty. It's not so juicy. It's interesting. I don't know if you guys are picking out textures when you smell fragrances. Here, it's almost like there's rice powder sprinkled on top of the juicy Orange Blossom, which covers up the orangey, blossomy smell a little bit. Makes it powdery, obviously. That's a good one, though. You know what this reminds me of a little bit? AEDES from Diptyque. A little bit. But that's Orange Blossom. Now to the masterpiece that got discontinued so quick. This is Penhaligon's Ostara. Paying tribute to the daffodil. One of the most gorgeous fragrances ever created, guys. This stuff is phenomenal. This is my backup bottle. And it's to die for delicious. If you can get your hands on this bottle, please do, because it's so, so awesome. It smells like spring in a bottle. It's almost like, I think February, March is when they put out those daffodils. And they sell them. They used to sell them for like 79 cents. Then they became 99 cents for like 5 of them. And then now they're like $1.50 or something. And you can get a bunch of them. They're yellow, beautiful. And, you know, they look like these flowers. So it almost like it's because when you get close to those, when they group them out in this big bucket, you can smell exactly what you're smelling here. It is so, so good. This is definitely one of the best, hands down, one of the best creations ever. Sadly, I don't think people got it. It's kind of green leaning. It's yellow floral, but it smells like spring. I know so many people that wear this fragrance or used to wear it because they loved it. It is masterpiece. I think it's a masterpiece the way it's done. Just really, really awesome. Realistic smell that you're familiar with. Underneath it all, underlying there's some light funk because daffodils can smell a bit dirty when you dig into the smell quite a bit. But to me, it's one of the best smells ever. I think he created such an awesome scent. It is an eau de toilette also. It wasn't the longest lasting fragrance, but he did such a great job on that one. I'm glad I have 2. Who's a fan of this? If you can hunt one down, please do. Now, you know the one I'm trying to hunt down? I think it's also Bertrand Duchaufour. It's called Tra La La. That's the fragrance I'm trying to hunt down. But I think this is also another very popular fragrance. And I believe they've changed the label. I noticed something along the way. This is Sartorial. Sartorial is super barbershop-y, kind of like Brut, kind of honeyed, beeswaxy. So I would call this a little bit like an Amber Fougere style. It's got that honeyed vibe. That's good. It smells like a barbershop-y fragrance. Sadly, it's an eau de toilette. It doesn't have the best longevity, but to me, it smells really, really great. There's a little bit of a classic smell to this. It's leaning classical. Whereas if you compare this to the Tom Ford Beau de Jour, which I believe is discontinued, and I'm hoping this is not discontinued. Somebody posted recently, said, what's going on with Sartorial? I can never seem to find any bottles. It keeps saying out of stock. I don't know what's going on. I did catch a bottle change or a bottle label redesign, but it's in the hands of Puig. So they decide what they want to sell. Obviously, they need to make money. So if it's not selling, then they're going to discontinue it. But also, with the whole Tom Ford Beau de Jour thing, I posted that it was discontinued, but some people said it's not. But I'd get comments, my sales associate told me it's getting discontinued. So there's a discrepancy about that one. I don't know 100% if it is, but I see it selling at stores. So it hasn't gotten discontinued, but maybe they're leading up to discontinuation. I don't know. But to me, Tom Ford's Beau de Jour is a lot more modern smelling than Sartorial. Sartorial has that Brut smell, which to me is classic. This also reminds me of my dad a little bit. So I like that fragrance. There used to be another fragrance in the Penhaligon's collection called Bayolea. Very modern fougere, nothing like this. It was more of a freshy fougere. That one got discontinued quite quickly. But with Bayolea, they had so many. That was not a Bertrand Duchaufour fragrance, by the way. But with Bayolea, they had all these products, you know, grooming and men's shaving products. But they killed that one pretty quick. But the next fragrance is Vara. Was this one quince? Was that the fruit that this had featured in it? I can't remember. I think it was quince. I think it is quince. So to me, it has a tea vibe. But is it quince or is it a different fruit? I think it's quince, right? To me, it smells like quince jam with tea and saffron. So there's this like little bit of metallic touch about it. That's really good too. Let me know if you're familiar with that. So there were a few that I had to leave off. I just couldn't find them. And again, I'm not 100% sure if Eau Sans Perel and Esprit de Roy are him. But I am featuring them here. If they're not, then I've warned you. So we're going to take a pause real quick. All right, I'm back. All right, so there was a brand at Barney's selling extremely expensively called Fong Dang that Bertrand Duchaufour had done a lot of the fragrances, if not all. I don't know what happened to this brand. If anybody has information, let us know. They were so pricey, these fragrances. These were overpriced at the time of when niche wasn't that expensive. I mean, they were expensive, but these were selling like double the price of what some niche fragrances were selling. And now, if they launched now, these would be like quadruple the price. I don't know. Who remembers Fong Dang? It was a Barney's exclusive brand. And I've got 4 that I'm going to talk to you about. I bought 2 at Barney's, full retail. And then I bought 2 additional ones when Barney's was clearing out all their fragrances. They were like 75% off, maybe even further. So the first fragrance, and it's been a while since I've smelled these. I've put them away because they're discontinued. I have no idea what happened to the brand. They never announced it. But first of which is Artist. So all of the fragrances are supposed to be created by Bertrand, but this one also says it's Mark Buxton. And when I get to this fragrance here, Renegades, it's put out by Garçons as, I think, in conjunction with Eccentric Molecules, because the bottle looked like Eccentric Molecules, and one of the fragrances is Mark Buxton. So I'm assuming that Bertrand, Mark, and Geza were friends or something, because again, this is a Bertrand and Mark Buxton co-creation. Again, I haven't smelled this since 2019 or 2020, so I'm forgetting what this one is all about. And now that I'm smelling it, it's not so exciting. For me, the others are a little bit more. Why did I buy this one? Sometimes you're tempted with extras and goodies and gifts at the department stores. And I think I took advantage of some kind of a gift promotion. That's why I got this. It's kind of woody spicy, but also maybe lightly ambery. But this one's kind of boring. I got to wear it on skin. Some of these fragrances, as I said, they're discontinued, so it's been a while. I must have really enjoyed that fragrance. And obviously, look, I've used so much of it. It's almost like there's warmth and woods and freshness along with it as well. And something slightly smoky, incensey. But Craving? Let me know if you remember the fragrances of Fong Dang. Hot, spicy, amber, woody. Now, I'm talking about amber, not amber woods like the synthetic stuff. I mean, this might feature some, but there's a red hot quality about this one, so it's quite spicy. This is more my kind. I like warm fragrances quite a bit. This gives me a lot of warmth. It's almost like cinnamony hot, but I don't think it's cinnamon. But there's just a warmth about it. Yeah, I like that one. But I think my favorite for sure is the first one I bought is the Calling. I've used the most on it. I'll get to that. It's lavender, but we also have liquid red. So I bought these two at the Barney's clearance when, you know, the store was going out of business. But the other two I paid full retail on. This is rose. It's a fresh and green rose. Lots of green rose stems. I have a feeling my bottles are not at their best. They're in this room and they're stored away. I wonder if the fragrances are kind of turning, which is sad. But what I'm getting with this one is a makeup-y vibe green rose with like dew on it. It's kind of watery. All right, and then my favorite, the Calling. Really love that one. They had an oud that was so skanky. I have a video on the channel actually on that oud. Oh, this is good. This is so good. Oh man, I could still smell how good it is. Oh wow. So there's lavender here, but it's surrounded with warmth. Amber. Wow, this is good. This is really good. I'm going to wear some. I know I don't have too much. Yum. That is superb. Really wonderful. It's almost like a warm amber fougere because there's a lot of lavender here, but in a cozy, calming way. Warm, spicy, aromatic. That's really good. I had forgotten how good this is. Like I said, this is the first one I bought. I smelled the collection. I talked myself out of it. I said it's too expensive. Then I said, okay, I need to buy it because it's so good. I went back and bought it. But again, I don't know what's going on with this brand, Feng Dang. Why is this not focusing? Anyway, Feng Dang. Let me know who knows that brand. That Calling, the Calling is great. So let's go to the Renegades collection. So I reviewed the Renegades collection. It's 3 of them. So there was one Bertrand Duchaufour, there was one Garçons, and there was one Mark Buxton. And each of the fragrance, well, I think this was done by the Eccentric Molecules company because the bottles are very similar to Eccentric Molecules fragrances. And here there was a magnet. Unfortunately, I've kept the magnets at home. I better just bring them back, and I don't have them to show you. But you can search the channel for Renegades to see the magnets on each of the fragrances. And I only have like half a bottle left for each. I've used up quite a bit of it. This is the Bertrand Duchaufour. So they were, I guess Geza had asked the 2 different perfumers to do a fragrance for each of these, and it's called Project Renegade, so I guess they're considered Renegade perfumers. And so each one did their own style. I think each one has their own unique, qualities. I can't remember which one I liked the most, but I believe it was the Garçons one that I enjoyed the most. This is kind of woody, spicy, maybe a slight bit leathery and smoky. If you can see that is the magnet that's on the bottle, that fits on the bottle. And here you've got some, bullet shots like this. I believe this came out in 2015 or 2016. I think the Bertrand was my least favorite of the three. I think it was Geza, Marc, and then Bertrand. This one's a bit boring, but it's great to have these. Sadly, they're used, obviously. I wish they were full bottles, but I have something to show you guys for the history of fragrances. They are eau de toilette, it says, and of course, London, UK address is posted. And that's where the Essential Molecules is based out of, even though I think Geza is German. So we have several fragrances left here. We're going to talk about two fragrances from Spiritum. Solar Soul, Spiritual Explorer. So the fragrances of this house, Spiritum, are created by either Bertrand Duchaufour or Philippe Paparella Paris. I don't know what's going on with the house. They never fully made it to the States. These are decantable bottles, it seems like also. I don't see anybody selling these here. They launched in 22. This is warm, ambery, boozy. Quite delicious. Wow, this is really good. I haven't noticed this one smelling this great before. Why am I getting some chocolate? It's quite boozy. I don't recall this smelling this good. Aging does work, guys. Who knows this brand, Spiritum? So that's Solar Soul. And then we've got Spiritual Explorer, number 7. Let's see. Solar Soul is number 1. Let me know if you're familiar with this brand. This one's a bit nondescript. I think it's musky, powdery, woody, and dry. Yeah. And also a lot of ambroxan type notes. Pretty strong. So I think if you're familiar with, like, I don't know what, Molecule 2, Not a Perfume, number 4, Appelez l'Amour, you're going to like something like this. It's quite dusty, dry, woody, ambery, musky. So that is Spiritual Explorer. 2 from the house of Spiritum. They actually have a store in Paris if you're ever in Paris. And it's called Spiritum Paris. All right, so we've got several fragrances from 1, 2, whoa. I only see... Okay, pause time. So Bertrand Duchaufour has done fragrances for Steppaboard. Steppaboard is an Italian house that does fragrances that look like spray paint cans, which makes them hair and body perfume. So you can spray it on your hair and won't damage them, and you can spray it all over your body as well. I like the concept. I don't know if they've ever caught on. I actually have a video with the founder of the brand on the channel, shot at Pitti Fragranza. So if you want to explore and discover the brand more, you can do that by searching the brand called Steppaboard on my channel. But my favorite is Bosco Sospeso. And the problem is my bottle doesn't spray anymore, which is a bummer. I'm going to try again here. No, it's not spraying. So Bosco Sospeso is a very green tomato leafy fragrance inspired by those famous buildings in Milan that have the plants growing on them all over. To me, it's like a very green take on something like Mugler's Angel with a lot of greenness, a lot of patchouli. It's super awesome. Really love it, but my bottle's not working or spraying, sadly. So I can't really talk to you more about it. But I have searched, I mean, not searched, I have spoken about it on the channel, so you can search the channel to find out more about it. But the next one is Cuoio de Town. Cuoio referring to leather. So these are the bottles. Let's see if this sprays. This should spray. Yeah, there it is. So that's a very leathery experience. So the fragrances are inspired by metro, like they're different metro stops. So you've got those metro stops on the bottles. This one's a dark, leathery, kind of smoky incense. Maybe less incense, but more smoke. But there's a bit of an incensey vibe with this. But I want to ask you guys, have you discovered this house? I don't think they're selling in the States yet. Well, I think she mentioned that there was a retailer that was selling here. I'm not 100% sure, so we'll find out for you guys. But still, my favorite is Bosco Sospeso. But let's smell some of the other ones. We've got Infinite Square, which is this one. I am not too familiar with this one. This one's not spraying either. What's going on? Wait, I hope these are created by Bertrand, now that I think about it. I think they are. I know the green one, I know these two for sure are Bertrand. The Bosco Sospeso and Cuoio de Town. Some of these might not be, unfortunately. I looked them up and it said Bertrand, but I can't remember if this one is. This one, kind of cold gray and a little bit metallic, powdery. I think it's iris or iris type of a powdery note. But it comes off kind of muted and gray to me. Muted as in the muted color, not the experience. But I think my bottle was not spraying very well, so I didn't smell it very well. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. We've got two more, and then we've got one from another brand, and we'll be done with this. But let me know what you've been enjoying so far from the brand. The next one is called Silver Cloud. Look at that bottle. It doesn't look like you can shake it. This one sprays really nicely. Now this one smells gray and incensey, for sure. Very powdery. Earthy. Whoa. It smells like the earth. Metallic. Deep earth, gray, and incensey. Yeah. So that one is Silver Cloud. Metallic Silver Cloud. And then finally, we've got Transitions Gate. So this is London. This is Chicago. Yes, I remember she was very interested in doing Chicago subway stops. She did the Milan subway stops. And of course, she did London as well. Who knows where she's going to go next? Somewhere in Asia, maybe? So we've got Transitions Gate here. This one's actually churchy incense. Very woody as well. This smells like Bertrand Duchaufour. In fact, it smells a little bit, although this is a bit warmer than Incense Avignon. It smells like church. So I guess I spray perfume on my hair, but probably it damages it. I don't like pour a lot. I just spray a couple of whiffs from far, and it, you know, the little remnants land on my hair. Because I use a pomade and it stays on, and you know, I can smell as I'm walking by. I can, you know, leave remnants of the perfume, and it smells quite good. But it does damage hair, and that's why there's a whole market of hair perfumes. So these are kind of fun and playful. They look like, you know, spray paint cans, obviously, but they're perfume. And again, it's made for the hair and the body, so it won't damage your hair. There's no alcohol. That's the thing that really damages your hair, the alcohol. So those are step aboard fragrances that Bertrand Duchaufour has created. And the last fragrance I want to talk to you about is from the Different Company, and it's Oud for Love. One of my very first oud fragrances, dating back to like 2013. It's a oud made with gourmand notes. So remember, we had L'Artisan's Al Oud, really awesome, really awesome oud. This one was also really awesome. I haven't smelled it in ages, but quite good. So it's lots of oud, but it's oud that's not funky animalic. But there's caramelly, boozy notes there as well. Of course, vanilla too. So it's a nice balance. It's not super gourmand, you know, gooey and tooth-rottingly sweet kind of a, you know, fragrance, because the oud balances it out. But you have that as well as the oud. And of course, all kinds of spices as well. Maybe a slight bit of leather here too. But it's a nice fusion of sweet gourmand notes and woody, you know, spicy and ambery notes as well. Definitely a great one. I like this one more than their other fragrance, Shamash. I think it's Oud Shamash. I like that because it's got enough warmth and sweetness to balance out the oudy oud that's in here. Which, again, it's not the very funky, animalic, dirty smelling oud. It's a kind of a Western oud with the fusion of the gourmand notes. So that's all I have for you today of all of the fragrances from Bertrand Duchaufour. So I made the list. I'm going to have to remove some of the fragrances we did not talk about. I did not include them because I just didn't have them. I'm not sure what's going on with them, but I think I recall some of the fragrances. So there's too many to manage here. Over 6,000 bottles to manage here, which is a lot. And so it's sometimes you forget if you're not constantly dealing with it. But I hope you enjoyed this video of Bertrand Duchaufour fragrances. Go catch my first video, a top 10 list of Bertrand Duchaufour fragrances. I know this fragrance is in it, Oud for Love. I can't remember if any of these other ones are in it. No, not on this part, but the previous there were some. But do you enjoy Bertrand's fragrances? Let me know. Do add a comment below. And if you do, what are your favorites? Did I miss something? Have I spoken about something that I might have missed? Because sometimes I do miss some fragrances that I've spoken about that I forget. So let me know. And if there's something that you really love and I have never spoken about, do let me know that as well. Do add a comment below. And thanks so much for watching. As I said, what would you like to see next? Which perfumer would you like to see next? And also, don't stop at the perfumers. What about a style, a brand, a different idea for a deep dive? Let me know. I'm happy to do these because they're fun for me to shoot. It just takes a long time for me to organize. Of course, you have to write down all the fragrances, the names, sometimes the names of the perfumers as well. Like I just did one for Costume National. Stay tuned for that one. And some of the perfumers I did not know, so I have to research them. So it takes a while to do them, and then I have to gather all the fragrances. Some of them are stored away, so I have to go find them in boxes, especially for this video because there's a lot of discontinued fragrances. But I'm happy to do more, guys. Let me know what you want to see next. Do add a comment below. But thanks so much for watching. As I said, if you have any questions or comments, list below. Please like this video. Please share it. And of course, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, which I never post there anymore. Either way, guys, see you later. Bye-bye.